I have a story to tell. It's a story of one of my most inglorious moments. Well, there have been many of them, so an inglorious moment. But it's a story of when a slight, small young woman named Avani Alves de Deus Seja was my hero. It was in Brazil, and my wife Joyce at the time, and Avani and I were traveling from Catolé de Rocha to João Pessoa, I think, maybe even Recife, which is another state away, but probably it was João Pessoa. I don't remember, but it was an all-day bus ride to get from Catolé to João Pessoa. And somewhere along the way, I think we might have actually, I don't think we had quite arrived in João Pessoa, but it was dark by that time. And the bus stopped, we stopped for a rest or whatever. And Joyce and I and Avani went into I guess I'll call it a bar. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's a cafe maybe, but they probably serve pinga. I think they called it cachaça. A liquor in there is disgusting tasting. But anyway, we went in there. Now let me tell you about Avani. Well, maybe I already did. She was small. She wore thick glasses. She was our best friend while we were in Brazil. She was like an angel. She was a cooperative member, an officer, and that's why she was traveling with us, I think, as I recall, because we had to have an officer from the cooperative go there. It probably had to do with the founding of the Cooperativa Artesanal Mista de Catolé de Rocha, the mixed cooperative of Catolé de Rocha. But anyway, that doesn't matter, but her size does in a way. She was our best friend. But anyway, of course we were tired. We went into this bar, and as I recall it, I don't recall it clearly, but we sat there and probably had, I don't know, coffee, or I don't know what we had, if we even ended up having it, something to eat. Well, on our right, I think it was, there were three really big guys there. They were big, like in American football, they would have been linemen or linebackers. They didn't look all that athletic, but they were really big guys, maybe a little bit on the fat side, but big. And we talked to them a little bit. And the one guy, he was kind of the head honcho of the three. He said he was the mayor of such and such a town. I don't remember really where this was. And we talked a little bit, and I'm not so sure what happened, how I offended. But at a certain point, either this guy or probably it was that guy, or all three of them, I don't know. Now I was small. Well, I was 6 feet tall, but I was really skinny at that time. When I was in Brazil, man, I weighed about what I weigh now, and no, I didn't weigh as much as I weigh now, I don't think, and I was a couple inches taller probably. And I had a big bushy beard because I'd come to the point where I realized the Brazilians weren't going to like me anyway. This was hostile territory. In general, at that time, Brazil was very anti-American. It had to do with the war in Vietnam and the fact that Americans had killed John F. Kennedy, who was a Catholic, and well, for various reasons. There were quite a few Brazilians, especially in the Northeast, that did not like Americans. So I'd given up on trying to, shave and wear a short shirt and try to look a little bit Brazilian. Maybe a mistake on my part. I didn't do it completely or defiantly, but I just, it wasn't worth it. I hadn't let my hair grow long yet, I don't think, but I had a big bushy beard. Well, anyway, something or other set these guys off. Now, I should tell you something else about him, or him. I don't know if the other two were just his henchmen. Brazilians carried weapons. pretty much, I don't know how legal it was, but they all carried knives, and and a lot of them carried pistols too. They probably did. Now, we Peace Corps members, of course, didn't do that. I had a conversation with a guy, a Vietnam vet, well, a vet, and he was saying about the Peace Corps. Well, that was an easy job. And I said to him once, well, how would you like to go unarmed into hostile territory, uh, uh, not being able to speak the language, and taking with you a beautiful woman, and staying there for 3 years? And he thought about that, unarmed, you know, he thought about that for a while, and he realized that he probably didn't do anything quite as dangerous. But anyway, I offended this guy for some reason. Anyway, he picked me up, took me to the door, and threw me out the door. I made the trip by air out through the door, just like as you see in these Western movies, where in the bar some guy gets thrown out the door. Well, I made that trip, landed on the sidewalk or the street or whatever. I wasn't about to fight these three guys. But anyway, this story is about Avani, because Avani, she got so mad at that. Remember, she's a little woman, and she ripped into those guys. I don't know exactly what she said, because she was talking too fast and she was too mad. She just ripped into them, and the result of it was this guy, he ended up, I don't know if he came out to me or when I went back in. Of course, I was going to have to go back in. There was my wife and the woman traveling. But anyway, he ended up apologizing to me. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a Russian." So anyway, Avani, you might say, saved my ass. She was my hero. Bye for now.